Hello, folks interested in mentoring as far as it influences student journeys into career, while in career, into becoming mentors themselves. This is another episode of Mentorship Matters, a portion of our work in the Lowell Institute School and also Northeastern University's College of Professional Studies to talk about a variety of topics. We're centering around mentoring, we're guiding students, we're guiding career transitioners from one space into the next and talking about the role of mentoring. And as a part of that, we're talking about the quality of our academic programming at the College of Professional Studies, why we are so industry aligned in terms of our work and the work that we do to support students. And this fall, each of our episodes are bringing in our esteemed academic leads who run the bachelor completion programs across our bachelor's completion portfolio at the College of Professional Studies. We have degree programs that are very industry aligned, positioning folks to get important jobs that can provide them with meaningful income streams, potentially starting their own businesses, whatever it might be, in a variety of fields that are going to be in demand as we move into the world of 2025 and beyond. Today, I am joined by two professors, and I'll introduce them in just a second. My name is Chris Cook, director of the Lowell Institute School, and really grateful to be here and joined today by Lynda Hodgson, who leads our Information and Technology program.
Hi, I'm Lynda Hodgson, and I am the academic lead for the Bachelor of Science in Information Technology. And I've been here at Northeastern for almost 13 years and really enjoy the work, enjoy my faculty, the students. It's a very rewarding place to be. It's also rewarding to see how the industry changes. My biggest challenge is to try and keep the curriculum as up to date as I possibly can with all of the things that are going on in the industry today. So that's one of the things I spend a lot of time on. I also advise faculty, mentor the faculty. Students aren't the only ones that need mentoring sometimes. If we have new faculty, they need some mentoring too, because teaching can be a challenge. So that's one of the things that I do. And I will guide probably your first point of contact would be your advisor, but they very often refer students to me to answer questions about the curriculum, about their careers, about all kinds of things that they have to deal with as they go through the program.
Thank you, Lynda. It's Vladmir Shapiro. I'm academic lead for the Bachelor of Science in Analytics program. Analytics stands short for data analytics, as it is in many other places. So I started with Northeastern as a part-time instructor 6 years ago, probably. And I like it so much that I applied for a permanent position, and here I am. A little over a year, I'm in charge of the program as far as the academic responsibilities go. And there is really a lot of things to be excited about as far as the program goes. We've done so many changes to put it in line with the trends, recent trends, as far as AI, and modify the program, make it really up to date and shine. There is more work to do, obviously. We recruited a few new instructors that are a nice addition to a lineup of very powerful instructors. Our instructors are really top-notch. They teach almost all of them teach on the graduate program. And so we are grateful to them that they share their experience and knowledge with us. They're all highly qualified industry professionals with a lot of experience. So you've got as students a lot to learn from them, and they definitely wealth of information and experience.
Awesome. Yeah, I think why don't we start a little bit adjacent to the professors. If you could maybe give us a little bit of a taste of what information technology is and what analytics is as a discipline. And I say this knowing, Lynda, you've been leading the IT program for a long time. It's a pretty robust program with a couple hundred students. Vladmir, the analytics program is newer, but it's growing and growing. And I think there are many people who might watch this that think, what is the state of those disciplines at present? So Lynda, what does it mean to study information technology at the College of Professional Studies?
The BS in information technology shares a lot in common with other degrees that you're going to hear about. You're going to hear about computer science. You're going to hear information systems. They're all related and they do similar things, but there is a difference in emphasis. Computer science is going to be more about really very complex algorithms in computing. Information systems is more about, yes, you're going to do applications development and you need to know about networking, but it's really about the more management and the systems analysis, working with business people to figure out what systems need to be built. IT does both the software development aspect and the networking and cybersecurity aspects. So you could actually conceivably be competing with a computer science major or an MIS major out of this program. But one of the advantages I think we have in the BSIT is that we do have a broad scope and we let you concentrate. So if you want to concentrate in the networking and cybersecurity, we have a concentration there. We have a bridge to a computer science master's degree. So it's really a broad-based foundation in all of the computing disciplines that let you really spread out and choose where you are most interested in working.
Awesome. And as I think about our degree programs, I think about how they're very like field focused, but the fields are really broad, right? IT as a field is everywhere, right? Almost every company is going to have an IT department. There's going to be different functions that those IT departments place. And so the landing spot for anybody that's doing the programs is really a wide range. And similarly, Vladimir, I think that's true about analytics. Do you mind telling us a little bit about what does it mean to study analytics at CPS as well?
Yes, yeah, it's a good point. I actually was planning to make it that same point, to stress it. The fact that analytics, just as information technology, is everywhere. So that is what makes these two disciplines privileged, right? As opposed to some others which are narrowly focused. So you are limited to a certain industries or certain areas where you can apply your skills. And obviously, it's more difficult to find a good job if your job market is much more restricted. So here we have that advantage to basically apply our skills anywhere, right? Data, wherever data exists, you need data analytics. You need some tools and means to process it, to derive insights, to guide your decision-making process, to translate that into smarter, wiser decisions that would help your organization to succeed. And we are helping with that, right? Our discipline helps you with knowledge of probability statistics, some coding skills that you would acquire as a student, machine learning, various types of analytics, descriptive, predictive, prescriptive, etc., that would help you in the process of getting. We are working very tightly with the IT program, with some courses that we offer are being taken by students on the information technology program and vice versa, because the coding plays a big role. We are really working hand in hand.
Great. And I should point out that the collaboration that you two have on your programs related to curriculum alignment and support, and just the way in which we are offering degree seeking programming in both disciplines, and that you are so interwoven with how you support students and recognize the benefits. It's really quite inspiring to see within an academic institution that type of collaboration.
Sometimes you have students who are coming in fairly new, maybe they haven't been in either field, and I don't know whether I want to be in IT or analytics. And the answer is really simple. Here, there's courses you can take in analytics that you can apply to your BS degree, and there's courses you can take in the IT curriculum that you apply to analytics. So you don't have to make a choice. You can try out a little bit of both and take a look at what feels better before you go on to do the more advanced coursework.
Yep. And I think the idea that you start an experience and then you're figuring it out, it is a nice segue into a conversation about mentorship. As students are taking these courses and they're figuring out what to do, our academic leads, so Lynda and Vladimir, and academic leads of other programs, play a really significant role in mentoring students as they progress through. But I want to flip it back to you, Lynda and Vladimir, to talk about your own career trajectory and how mentorship helped guide you into the fields that you're in.
I started out going to Virginia Tech and did not last there very long. Although I will say I really enjoyed my time, which is why I wasn't there very long.
Love that.
But I came back and I got a job at it was called the Bank of Virginia. And I was basically working as a clerk. I got there at 6 a.m. and I'm adding up checks and making sure things balance and doing basically grunt work. And my boss realized that what I was doing when I didn't have my heads down with the calculators was trying to figure out how to make the work better, how to make it easier, how to make it flow more so it was less time consuming and more efficient. And she noticed that. And before I even noticed, you know how they have job postings here, we have job openings for this. She came to me and said, here, we have an opening in this organization for a programmer trainee. Would you like to apply? You better apply.
Good mentor.
Very good mentor. So she definitely encouraged me. And I had really never taken a programming class at all. And all of a sudden, I'm a programmer trainee. So I did a lot of learning on the job at first. So I definitely had mentors. I was fortunate in that the first person that I worked, my first manager, was also a woman, which was unusual at the time. And she was very interested in encouraging me along and giving me small tasks and then growing them. And I would write code and she would review it and she would tell me, this is great, this could be better, that kind of thing. It was really helpful. That was great. I also had bosses along the way that were really good at encouraging me to expand what I was looking at doing. I had one boss who said, you need to get away from coding. You're good at it, but you can do more. And that's how I got into a role as a systems analyst for one wing of the Bank of Virginia, which is now Capital One Financial. Okay, so
big place,
yeah,
huh?
a big place. Yes, big place. So I was doing systems analysis work, not coding, but again, working with the end users to define requirements and that kind of thing. And then when Capital One split off, the bank split into two parts, I continued to work with Capital One and help them do some strategic things. I was on the team that we helped to create what was at the time the largest non-governmental data warehouse that existed on an Oracle platform. Because, hey, we were taking all the information about all of the transactions that people were doing and trying to analyze them to figure out purchasing trends, to find trends that would lead us to identify people who were maybe having some financial difficulties. Lots of different things that we were looking at. I didn't do that analysis. We had statistics people that were doing the analysis, but I was helping to build that database so that they could do that analysis. And along that whole pathway, I was continuing to go to school at Virginia Commonwealth at night. So pretty much most of my degree, my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, most of my PhD was done at night, part-time, 1, 2, occasionally I would try 3 classes if I had one that I knew was going to be easy. But yeah, my experience is very much the working student. But I really loved the intellectual, the academic side of things, and eventually realized that I needed to go ahead and get into this full time.
Yep.
So I got my PhD and went into teaching, and it's been great since then.
Amazing. And it's funny that first mentor really set you on a pathway.
Absolutely.
So the early career mentor connected to, I'm sure at the time you were going to classes, and it sounds like your story, Lynda, has a lot of synergies with our own students here at CPS. Appreciate you serving as an inspiration to them also. But the role of mentorship, clearly, like defining path setting interaction there with that first boss. Vladmir, what can you tell me something? I don't know if your origin stories are similar, but would love to hear a little bit about you and some early mentors that played a role for you.
Yeah, absolutely. But before that, while I was listening to Lynda's
Please, yeah,
story,
jump in.
yeah, at least there were two aspects which are similar to mine experience. You said, Lynda, that you studied while working at night, etc. I did my PhD while working full time, and then many years later I did an MBA degree again while working full time. So it has their own challenges, but interesting. And the other commonality is that you mentioned the bank position. Was it the teller, right? Teller role?
It was actually after the teller.
Yeah.
We got the work that the tellers did. They bundled up all the checks and all of that and sent it to a central place where we had big machines to help us, but we sorted all the checks so we could send it to the various assorted banks.
Interesting.
But it was a little like teller work.
Yeah, but so my probably place where I worked longest, something like 13 years, was taking the checks among other bank documents and processing them with smart AI algorithms to extract the amounts and then what is called proof of deposit. So basically they're being scanned in the bank. So then the amounts recognized. Initially, people were keying those amounts, and then the software came and the algorithms helped. And nowadays it's probably 98% of them are handled by the algorithms and the machines. So I'm taking pride of my algorithms and software still running in, I don't know, Bank of America ATMs. In the past, though, there used to be those computing centers where the checks were processed. But nowadays, they're mostly a teller position or ATMs. But anyway, so this is where things kind of overlap between your and my experience. As far as the mentorship, I started my career in the research, in academic research institution. And I have a boss at that time, and he said, well, you know what, since you are doing research, it looks like you have some gifts maybe, right? Why don't you do a PhD take those subjects and develop them a little deeper and submit some papers and stuff. And basically, he encouraged me to continue to do the PhD, which I did. And that kind of launched the career. Then I left the academia. I did like maybe 30 years of different industries, and banking was one of them. And now I'm returning back to the academia. But that person who I'm very grateful, he became my advisor later on the PhD program. And I'm still in touch with him. He retired since, and he's Professor Emeritus nowadays. And even this morning I exchanged emails with him. So we are still in touch, and I'm very grateful to the person for the right advice at the right time. And that can change your life.
Yeah, and I would hope maybe you send this link to your mentor too and say, look, I talked about you in a public space.
I will.
Video. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that really resonates with me and the early mentors. I can think of at least a handful of mentors who I stay pretty connected with, and really grateful that they sustain that connection too. And I think it talks about approaching mentorship with an eye toward that people want to help you, and that you also have a responsibility in that relationship to engage in a particular way and be respectful and ask good questions and really be earnest in your interactions. And sometimes I think that's a little lost in the way in which we talk about mentorship. So you both run academic programs, bachelor's completion programs, students are coming into this space. And we've now identified the importance of early mentors in career to help you move forward. What do you think would be advice you'd give to current students you have about approaching mentors? Now, you may serve as mentors to some of your students, but there's many different types of spaces where first bosses or other places where you could get mentors. Lynda, what do you think is some good advice for your students as they approach the possibility of being in a mentor-mentee connection?
Don't be afraid to speak up. That's one thing. A lot of the instructors that we have will give you advice beyond just this is what you have to do for homework. Sometimes we don't really know who's craving that kind of guidance unless you speak up. And I think that's true in the workplace. In the workplace, your bosses are given a responsibility to guide you to some extent. In academia, we don't always know what's going on with the rest of your life. So speak up and let us know. Ask questions. My faculty will answer. Okay. We'll help you as much as we possibly can. And don't limit yourself to just your work environment and school. There's all kinds of organizations out there, user groups, PMI, different kinds of organizations where you can go and socialize, hang out, and ask for advice. And if there's someone that you connect with, there you have a potential mentorship kind of relationship. In the workplace, again, don't count just on your boss. That's probably the first place you should be thinking about is, yes, I know what you want me to do today. What do you think I should be doing for myself for the future? But you're also going to find those people in other areas of the organization. Sometimes it's just the guy that's been around longer than you have. So speak up, ask questions, find connections. You don't have to necessarily say, will you be my mentor? But you can certainly say, I'm struggling with this. I don't know where my career should go next. Have you got any guidance for me?
Yeah. I really thank you for saying to speak up. And even I would go so far to say people should raise their hand a little bit more directly. Professors, teachers, people in those types of roles, they're wonderful. You're showing up because you want to have a difference and make a difference. The idea that we also can just see all the ways in which people need support without somebody raising their hand and calling it to the attention is, sure, there are some interactions where you might pick up on something, but in terms of a bachelor's completion, you might have one professor for a 3-month period where your engagements might total 10 hours of any type of direct engagement. If you want that support, that person is likely to provide it if you indicate, right? Mentors can't always be held responsible for hunting the student who needs something. So students, please play a role in the mentorship-mentee relationship and know that's a really important part of it too. Vladmir, what do you have on the content here in terms of what you would suggest to folks as they're thinking about engaging in a mentor-mentee connection?
Yeah, first of all, I second obviously what Lynda said. That's what you definitely should be doing. So what I did as an experiment, I started doing as an experiment. I teach 2 online sections this fall, and I feel comfortable with the on-ground students being monitored because they're in the classroom, so they have access to me, I have access to them, I have a good understanding where they are. Now the online students, those are virtual students, you don't see them, they don't see you quite often, so you really don't know what else. I think Lynda touched on that. What else is going on with their lives, right? They might be having some other things going on, not necessarily under their control, and so I would like to know. So I reached out and set up meetings with the students, proactively see what's happening with them. I'm done with one of the sections, and the other section I'll be doing this Thursday and Friday, see how that goes. But based upon that initial batch of several students, I'm telling you, I learned a lot, right? Indeed, students are facing some things that I would love to know, but they don't reach out to me.
Yep.
So I wouldn't. And so that's that. And then what I would contribute to this discussion with a piece of advice, and that would be like, be open-minded, because that initial batch of students who I managed to talk to, maybe because some of them are a little later in their lives, so they make decisions on their own. So they think they know what they need, right? So they say, you know what? So I think there is probably much more that we could contribute to the mentees if we are given a chance, right? If you guys ask us, we've got something to tell, right? And you will the one who will benefit from it. But just give us a chance.
Yeah, I love that as a call to your students to say, yeah, not only raise your hand, but see us as humans that might be able to contribute to your development too. And that's not always so clear, particularly at the college level, between academic instructor, academic lead, and the students in the program. But you're opening for a less transactional interaction and more of a deep connectedness about guidance. And I think that's an incredibly gracious invitation. And please, students, reach out not only to Lynda and Vladimir, but the next topic of conversation related to the types of professors that we have in the bachelor's completion program, I think is one of the more unique features and of any higher ed institution, and also positions are that many of the professors you're involved with to serve as mentors. Historically, when you go to a place like Northeastern or even a 4-year residential campus like Northeastern, you're going to have professors that have gone the traditional academic pathway, and often maybe there's some industry connection. In the College of Professional Studies, north of 90% of the folks who teach our classes are either in industry right now or have come from industry recently, and are doing this because it's a way to add a real connection to help do the direct mentoring from the field.
I will agree. Yes, most of our faculty are in industry or have been in industry, done some kind of industrial work. We have a few folks that come from the academic setting, but yeah, most of them are from industry. It spans, I've got people in the financial area. I've got people who are in engineering. I think I've seen some consulting work. A few of them have switched around and have a flavor for many different industries. So yeah, you just have to talk to people and find out. They have contacts on the outside world. If you're assuming that you're in Boston and on ground, they can probably point you in the direction of contacts in multiple companies. So yeah, to pin it down and say it's one area or another, yeah, it's just, they're all over the map.
Yeah.
And they're great folks. Most of the faculty that teach while they're working, they've got a lot of experience, and they're at a point in life where they're really motivated by wanting to give back to the people who are coming behind them. And that tends to make them very good instructors, relatable people that want to talk to you.
Love that. Vladimir, take it away.
Yes, and basically they are not randomly coming to these positions, right? It's how we are selecting them, right? In the interview process of the instructors, we are gauging how much that person, likes the process of giving back to mentoring, essentially. And that's why they're here. And they're capable of contributing you far beyond what the curriculum says. That's the point I'm trying to make. They are successful individuals in the industry, not just that they're coming from there, they know things, but they've reached some level of success there. What does it mean for you, right? It means that it's likely that people like them, or even, them per se, they will be interviewing you for co-ops or for jobs when the moment comes, right? So that they can help you with getting prepared, getting ready, kind of indicate what kind of skills, what do you need in addition to the hard skills, what I'm referring to as statistics, coding, and stuff like that. That is something that you would address. I'm quite certain about that. And my conversations with you, I'm confirming that over and over. But the soft skills, how to get to the interview, how to come across as a person who is communicating well, who is a nice person to get along with, right? You would join the team and there will be no friction, right, at the workplace. This is something which is kind of lacking, and I'm trying to help myself. I'm sure other professors would do that gladly, especially if you ask them. And I can give a few examples, but if we have time for it later. Yes, so some subtle things, just which students tend to underestimate, such as, email etiquette, right? tiny little, it's not statistics or analytics or anything major like that, that students definitely pay a lot of attention to.
This also points to the way in which mentors have different responsibilities. In many ways, people are looking to the fast track to the opportunity. And so when you're a mentee and a mentor and that kind of connection, hey, how can you help me network to get a job, whatever. But also the mentor has a responsibility to provide you with the difficult feedback sometimes that then is going to position you to be better. And increasingly, there's this tension of what kind of feedback is good feedback for folks. When you are in a position where having mentors is an important part of your trajectory, and for anybody in any position, having mentors is an important part of your trajectory, opening yourself up to hearing feedback and then growing from that is an incredibly important foundational element of mentoring. And so just to Vladmir's point, and to some of Lynda's points, it's not just about getting something from the mentor, but it's also about giving the mentor information and trusting they're going to deliver back what you need to hear to be able to move forward. And you might not even see the lane of feedback that you're going to hear in order to improve and get ready for whatever comes next. And so I think that's a really important point of emphasis, that it's not all just about help me get to the next thing. It's about help me deal with whatever it is right now that I got to deal with so that I can get to the next thing is an important part of this too. This has been a lovely conversation, Lynda and Vladmir. What I'd like to do now is give you a chance to talk about your program and why you think it's a compelling program.
Thank you, Chris. I think we mentioned what would be the motivation to get on the analytics program, because along with the indications that we are getting from the industry and reputable sources out there, that the job forecast looks relatively optimistic compared to other disciplines as well. So especially with AI, which we are heavily injecting in everything that we are teaching. So with jobs with AI are definitely on demand. And we see our role here as to help you with getting a good job and then succeeding after you got the job. So that's how I would define my role here, is that. And whatever can help you with that would be an achievement. And nothing makes me more happy and proud when I get a notification from LinkedIn that this or that student of mine, who I contributed maybe a couple of courses and such, got a job in a respectable institution. And I have students who work for Google and Apple and some other Fidelity and many other places. So that's really great. Maybe we did something right. If that what happened that helped students to get to that level of jobs, then it's a ultimate proof for me, at least. So as far as the new things to the program, I would promote the applied AI concentration, which we are launching full force this fall right now. So we have 4 new courses in AI for all levels. Some of them don't require prerequisites, and any student can apply, can enroll even from other programs. So that's great. We also modified the analytics the Bachelor of Science in Analytics in a way that it would now allow you to take many more relevant courses, right, on IT program, on robotics and business if you want, to bioinformatics and etc. if you want to continue in that direction. There are several pathways in the degree in analytics and the degree in applied AI, master's degree that is in IT. And we are working on establishing some new pathways into other colleges, potentially College of Engineering. So that's that, plus some other programs, which are, one of them is apprenticeship program, which some of the students have already been to a degree approached and involved, and some of you have applied. So some exciting things are happening, hopefully more to come.
Awesome. Lynda.
Okay. All right. The IT program, we've been working really hard to make it as flexible as we can for the wide range of students that we get. We get a lot of students who are already in IT. They just never got the degree. And so they're back here check that box. And then we have people who are coming directly out of a community college with a related degree. And we have people who have maybe had a few courses here, a few courses there, and they're ready to nail down one program and get into it. We also have people from other areas, completely other areas, that have said, this isn't for me. I want a different direction. And IT is big, so let me come to IT. So we try and make our program as flexible as we can. If you've got a lot of IT experience, if you've got CompTIA certifications, we can, within certain constraints, accept those for credit. So you don't have to take the classes. That can be a big advantage to people who are already working in the field and have a lot of certifications. Even if you don't have a certification, we can go through what we call our prior learning assessment and process. And if you can produce artifacts that show that you have the knowledge for a specific class, then you don't necessarily have to have a certification, but you do have to be able to show through your things that you've done at work or through basically some write-ups that, I can help you. We have pathways. We have pathways to computer science, to informatics, which is more of a management focus on IT, to project management. A lot of those people who are in the industry already want to move more management oriented. And so we have a pathway directly into our master's in project management. And also with College of Engineering, you can go there as well. And analytics. If you've gotten the IT degree and you want to go to the analytics route because it really was wonderful, we'll send you off to a master's in analytics as well. We've got that one base from which you can go in many directions. And we try and get you through as efficiently as possible, again, by using things like the certifications and the PLAs. Sit down with your advisor, sit down, ask your instructors. Let's see if we can't create a pathway that helps you navigate all the things that you have to do as quickly and effectively as possible. And the other thing about the +1 pathways to the grad programs is that's a very quick and relatively inexpensive pathway to a master's degree.
Vladmir, if you're seeing what we're doing here and you want to reach out, don't hesitate. I think we're easy enough to find. Chris Cook, Vladmir Shapiro, and Lynda Hodgson. And really grateful, Vladmir and Lynda, for the time and your commitment to your programs and to your students, and to this concept of mentoring and all the ways in which it can play out and benefit for students.
Yes. So in the last year, Chris, just to remind that the webpage, the Lowell Institute School, with the recordings of the last year, they do have meetings with the discussion panels with the professionals. Yep. So they're still relevant. They're still
absolutely, and they're on the site, easy to find. And we're excited to get more content to you and talk about how academic and industry align, and you as students and you as industry professionals can continue to play a role to shape in your fields and in this very complicated 2025 and what industry will look like in the future. Lynda and Vladmir, thank you so much. I think that does it for the episode here. Thanks, everybody.